we're having chat issues. We are unable to stream it, so we're recording it to be uploaded later, but we're not live streaming at the moment.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, wonderful. Paula, can you give me the thumbs up? Thank you. I always look for it. Okay, wonderful. Hi everyone. Happy Monday instead of Thursday. My name is Desiree Gazzo. I am the community engagement lead for the Eastside Coastal Resiliency Project. I'm here presenting on behalf of DDC and the Program Management Construction Management JV HNTB 0. It is our 40th meeting, which is very exciting to end off the year on a nice even number. So we have a short presentation, especially compared to the other one, but we do have some responses to the questions that have been asked over the past couple of weeks. And as mentioned, if we didn't respond to anything, we will follow up in writing. So project area overview, again, these are the three projects that we are going to be speaking about within the ESCR program. Some of the focus area topics, construction progress, park amenities, and hiring compliance. Again, a short agenda for today. We do not have the environmental, the AQM numbers in, since this happened a bit earlier than it usually does. We don't have the slides from the contractors yet, so we will provide them before the end of the year. It just won't be, we won't speak to them in this presentation. So a few kind of hiring compliance resources. We have the Henry Street Settlement Work, Learn, and Grow program. So this is a kind of an internship program. So you can reach out to Henry Street Settlement for more information. And then in February, the 1st of February, DDC is having a Queens Construction Career and Training Resource Fair. This is very similar to the one that they had in Brooklyn a couple months ago. This one is in Queens, and they're essentially kind of trying to hit all of the boroughs. Anyone is can attend from anywhere. It's not just Queens focus. So please feel free to attend that. It is in person. So overview of contracts. I did kind of refresh this a little bit. We have the project area 1 basically is kind of staying the same. The amenities down at the bottom, we have that the work has begun today at ball fields 3, 4, and 5, and fields 1 and 2 construction is in progress. For project area 2, we'll go over in a minute, but basically the planting in Sky Cove Park it actually might be complete at this point, but we are looking to open that up before the end of the year. And for parallel conveyance, we just kind of split this into 2 locations. The southern locations, Houston Street to Montgomery Street, and then the northern locations, Avenue C, which is East 18th to East 23rd, to give a little bit more context there. So for the PA1 construction progress, again, not much has changed since the CB3 meeting last Wednesday. Again, we have the Esplanade removal and reconstruction, which we kept the slides in from there. And then again, the ball fields 1 and 2 construction, and we have an updated slide of that. This map now shows the closure at East Houston Street. I know they were starting that today. I'm honestly not sure if it's completed, but we can get an update on that. But it is set to be closed off this week. again, so they could start that work there at ball fields 3, 4, and 5. Here are the renderings for fields 1 and 2. And this photo was as of last week when they started putting down the artificial turf in that area. So, they are, again, continuing to make progress with those fields, and they will work to, again, get them reopened, late May is what they're looking at, the late springtime. So, again, they're pushing forward, and it's very exciting to see the restoration. And then these are for those who couldn't make the CB3 meeting, these are the Esplanade reconstruction photos. This is the placement of the precast Esplanade pieces by crane from the barge. Again, they had to bring in a special crane to do that, to lift these pieces. And then this is the pieces lined up there on the pier caps. So it's really exciting to see everything starting to be now reconstructed, whereas we've been seeing everything kind of deconstructed and all the underground work. So we'll continue to have photos in the presentations. A few items under what we've heard. On the 12th of this month, DOT and DDC did meet on site with a couple of community members to discuss the South Street, Montgomery Street intersection. There was the request for additional pictorial signage, which has been added. The no bike, kind of the graphic instead of the text. Those signs have been added. And I think they've been also talking about additional signage that will be added. There were also other points that were discussed, and we'll have more discussions on those as we move forward, since that meeting just happened last week. For archaeology, the final archaeological report is expected by the end of 2024, early 2025. So they are still working on that. And the signage that was to be provided under the mitigation will be presented to Manhattan CB3 in 2025 and subject to the Public Design Commission review, that whole process there. So there will be, public commentary during that time. But again, they are still working on that final archaeological report. For the compost yard, Parks and DDC and other agencies are meeting with the Lower East Side Ecology Center this week to provide updates on the compost yard. So we imagine that, potentially we will have updates next month. Ball fields 1 and 2. I know there have been questions about what other amenities, paths, etc., will open with the ball fields, the access, etc. So that is still something that's under coordination. But we are hoping to have more information on that, hopefully next month, if not in February. So that is something that we are, looking forward to presenting to you once we have that information. And then there was a question about the closure of the Esplanade when the Path of Lawn closes in February. And again, we are, looking to get that response as well. There was also a question about the materials that are being used, where synthetic turf fields would be, etc. So this slide here is from the 2020 final PDC presentation. So we wanted to include that. Once this is posted online, this is the title there, this 2020 final PDC presentation. That does bring you to the presentation so you could scroll through. But we're hoping that this is a helpful indication of some of the questions that were asked there. But again, that bright green are the synthetic turf fields. And then, they have the other materials there as well. For PA2 construction progress, Here is our Stuyvesant Cove Park planting in December, so it's not looking amazing, but if we could remember back when Astor Levy was planted, it looked the same, and this past spring and summer, it has looked absolutely amazing. So again, we're looking forward to coming back in the spring with some better pictures of Stuyvesant Cove Park. But we did want to, include the fact that there has been the planting is, again, if not completed at this moment, then it's the majority of the planting has been completed. And we are again looking to open that southern portion and the link to East River Park a little bit later this year, in the next 2 weeks or so. For parallel conveyance construction progress, the main tasks that are happening right now or operations are utility relocations and water main upgrades, especially down in the southern portion of the project. And then up in the northern portion around Avenue C, we have ongoing test pits. And then just some just an update on timing for the construction start for the interceptor gate chamber and building. We are looking to a mid-January of next year start. A lot of the information that's on this slide is just reiterating what we had presented the last month and at the CB3 meeting. So, feel free to review that. But we did want to provide the update that we are looking at around a mid-January start for the start of work in that area. For what we've heard, no additional tree removals are anticipated in Corlearshoek Park for this, portion of the work. There was a request for a progress chart, kind of more by location. So that is under development, a chart or an update. We're working on what layout would be best, which breaks out each of the different areas and shows how far along they each are. The Avenue C, so the work that's again in the northern portion, there were some questions about where new trees will be planted as part of the final design. So again, we'll bring that back hopefully in January. And there was also a question about the movement of the large equipment that needs to happen in and out of Corlearshoek site for that construction of the drainage chamber and building. And again, we'll hope to have that at the next meeting as well. And then that was really the end of our slide. We didn't have much to update on. We were at CB3 on Wednesday as well, but I think the last CAG meeting was, really when we provided the most amount of updates that we have for a while, because everything has been kind of progressing. So we are looking forward to the January meeting and kind of talking more about, hopefully we'll have more information on what will be expected to open with the ball fields. But in the meantime, again, we just wanted to wish everyone, a nice and happy holiday season. As always, I thank you all for participating in, these calls every month. Your feedback is very much so appreciated. And we look forward to the next couple of years of working with you as well. So I just wanted to put this up here from our team, and Paula, we are open to questions.
I see Trevor's hand.
All right, Desiree, thank you for that, although I just saw it last week. But just a quick question, and this is from last week and probably appropriate considering the rain we're having today. I don't know if you can answer this question, and maybe someone else can, but which division of DEP is actually responsible for the rainfall? I know we had discussed that and there were some questions on that at the CB3 meeting. So I was just wondering what division of DEP is responsible and if they're on the call.
For the new unit that we were talking about at the CB3
Yeah, I
meeting,
noticed
or,
I noticed that Humberto was on, so I was really asking him that question.
oh, okay, Umberto. Are you, sorry, I didn't see who was on. Umberto, are you available to speak?
Hello, yeah, Desiree. So I did not attend the CB3 meeting, but I'm assuming you're talking about the coastal, our new deputy commissioner, Lorraine, excuse me, our new
Correct.
deputy commissioner for coastal resiliency. Uh, Basically, DEP, the mayor, DEP commissioner, everybody, other city agencies, we've worked together to try to consolidate, make good planning decisions in terms of coastal resiliency. So we created this division within DEP. DEP will be responsible moving forward in the near future. It's still the early stages. We just got our deputy commissioner last month. So we're still building the staff, and like I said, since we're gonna be working with our sister agencies, we're gonna coordinate with them. I'm talking about future capital projects, anything that makes sense in terms of planning for resiliency. So it's in the early stages, like I said, but we have a unit created, and we can provide more information later on as it continues to grow and build out.
Okay, thank you, Humberto. And perhaps we could see you at CB3 in maybe March or April.
Right. And in terms of rainfall, very quickly, yes, it's a good point to separate rainfall from coastal issues. DEP overall, in case anybody is not aware, DEP overall is tasked with the city infrastructure in terms of water and sewer. So if there are any issues with the catch basins or city sewer inland, it should be directed to 311 and DEP, or myself. I can provide my email address. But like I said, we're tasked with making sure that the infrastructure is functioning properly. But during rainfall, if it's extreme rainfall as we're experiencing, unfortunately due to climate change, it's not an easy answer. And it's something that has to be discussed, and it's something unique for every borough, every location, because we're talking about different circumstances or factors that goes into it. We just got this big rainfall. Sorry, I didn't want to take over the meeting, but we just got this big rainfall, as we know that this major storm. So DEP does a lot of planning with the other sister agencies, but when we're talking about the coastal resiliency here, this is one project here that is helping to address these future issues.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Eric,
you.
oh, sorry.
Thank you for being on.
Eric, go ahead with your question.
Eric, I think you're on mute. Sorry.
You don't appear to be on mute, but I can't hear you either. Do you want to type your question?
Yeah. Also, I think Eric had typed a question earlier regarding the ball fields. I don't recall that getting.
I'm looking at the chat. Hold on.
Right. So
Oh, when will 1 and 2
typing his
open?
questions if there's yeah.
Okay, 1 and
And I think he has
ball
another.
fields 1. Oh, another question. Okay, ball fields 1 and 2 are supposed to open late spring. And then 2 quick questions. Oh, but he can. Oh, okay. So do you want to take someone else while he's typing in his questions? I think that was, yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
Martin, do you have a question?
Yeah, you mentioned that the southern end of Star Cove Park. By the way, this is my wife's account somehow, and I can't figure out to get her name off of the uh, thing, the video here. Anyway, the sinkholes. I know they've been working on them, and the last wall. You say all that's to be finished within the next couple of weeks?
That's what they're aiming for, yes.
And then the southern end will connect to anything at this point? Is there the pinch point? Is that closed off or?
The pinch point will reopen, and then the connection to PA1 will be open again. So the pinch point is here, and then you'll have access to the northern part of the park again.
Yeah,
of East River Park.
is there a timeline on that?
It should open when the lower half, everything should open by the end of the year. That's what the goal is.
Oh, terrific. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Wendy.
Hi, I was really surprised to see that the turf was added to number 1 and 2 before winter. Was there really enough time to let it settle?
It was determined that, yes, it could be installed. Parks Department had to approve the area as well. And it was decided that it could be installed, and then the next steps have to move forward from here.
So if it's damaged by winter or becomes rumpled, because there's so much concern about settling up until this moment, when all of a sudden it's fine to put it down, even though, we're just going through winter. Very first weekend has a major storm, etc. Who's responsible if it's rumbles? Is that the contractor or is that Parks?
The contractor is responsible for anything that's under construction, only until after the areas are finalized are they handed back over to Park.
So that'll be the contractors. And I'm also concerned about, it's a lot of plastic, and you're going to do the same thing to the ball field in Corliers. Put it on before winter and before all this dust and construction stuff happens right outside the door. So I just want to say that I'm really surprised by that, and encourage, since it's such a wasteful material and so toxic, to be judicious with it if you're going to install something that's already been banned in Boston, etc. So that's my request, and I guess I really don't have other questions right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Wendy.
Let's see if Eric typed in his questions. Oh, Okay,
Same question as
yeah.
access to PA1, and that was answered.
Other questions?
Hi, this is Shahida. I might be a little late to the party, so I apologize for my tardiness today. But also, I just wanted to know, was there not an alternative to the AstroTurf, or is that just something that the city wanted to like? And maybe this is a question that's been answered back before. I started being with CAG, but I'm just curious, was there not a different type of material that could have been used other than the AstroTurf? Something biodegradable, something else? I'm not sure.
Yeah, so there's actually, if you look on here, there are fields that are not synthetic turf, and then there are fields that are synthetic turf. And there's different reasons. I think there's maintenance reasons, and Parks has a number of reasons why they use synthetic turf fields, and natural turf fields, durability, maintenance, etc. So they did try to, have both in East River Park. And there is actually more natural turf in the new design of East River Park than there was previously. So there are benefits to using the synthetic turf. If, I believe we have some other points on that we could pull up and send over, Paula, to you, that we've spoken about in the past. But there is a kind of a balance of both in East River Park for the new park.
Okay, thank you so much.
And welcome to the CAG.
Thank you, thank you.
Eric made a comment in the chat about turf, just letting people know.
Not maintained and usually unplayable by the youth league. Yeah, I think maintenance is the biggest concern there. Thanks, Eric.
Diane, do you have a question?
Yeah, as long as we're on this slide, the concrete unit pavers for the Esplanade, are those the hexagonal pavers that we have now, or is it something different?
That's a good question. You think, yeah, we could double check, Diane, just to make sure. I think it's in the PDC presentation. We think that it is, but I just have to confirm before I could say definitely, or not, because I honestly haven't looked back at it in a while.
Okay, or I can look at the PDC presentation. I just didn't realize it was in there. Thanks.
Yeah, it should definitely be in there. And yeah, between all of us, we could look at
Okay.
it. And figure.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions?
Yeah, and I will say that the PDC presentations do have a lot of information in them, for people who are, maybe newer to the project also. So if, it's worth kind of looking through it, especially as we, starting to rebuild the park, just to get a refresh. But yeah, again, hopefully we'll come back next month, if not in January, then in February, with a little bit more information on, the opening of other amenities.
Other questions? I don't see anything.
Okay, great. Well, thank you again, everybody, and have a really happy holiday and a happy new year. And then we'll see you in 2024. And please, again, if there's any questions, send them, either send them over to us through Paula and Tara or through the inquiry tool. Whatever is easier for you. We do our best to respond, especially to timely questions, as soon as we possibly can. And then some of them just take a little bit more coordination with our team and with our other city agencies as well. So thank you for your patience with those.
Thank you. Happy holidays, Desiree.
Thank you.
Thanks, Desiree. So let's take a quick break before we transition to the CAG only conversation. We'll meet back here in 2 minutes. Welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Does anyone have anything they want to raise?
Well, I think, the two things on my mind are that they should update the full CAG on the compost yard situation as soon as possible. I think it's great that they're meeting with the Ecology Center. I'm a little bit anxious about that because the community compost programming funding has been cut, and I'm not sure what these guys are going to say about the compost yard. And then the other thing is that I think that, the feedback that we've been getting is that the community is pretty disappointed that more of the north end, north closures in the north end began before anything opened in the south end. I understand that the agreement just specified 43% of the park had to be open, and according to their calculations, 42.3% of the park is open, so great. But I do think that there will be a lot of, pressure to get the south end opening up as quickly as possible, and, with good amenities, not just, a footbridge to a couple of fields. We've talked about that before, but I just wanted to add that that's the feedback that we're hearing is, what can be done to encourage them or hold them accountable for opening up that south end as quickly as possible. And what can the CAG do about that?
Thanks, Diane.
And Eric added some things.
Eric just put something in the chat. He said the north end needs significant maintenance to even be usable. Eric, which part of the north end are you thinking of? The ball fields, the ones that are still left? Okay. He says yes. So that would be fields 6, 7, and 8. Six also, Eric?
Maybe not, yeah, 6 as well.
Okay.
I just want to add to a portion of what he was talking, what Eric is referring to. And this might be for a little bit in the future, but just from my experience of the parks that open up a little further south, I think we're going to have a real maintenance problem going forward once this park opens, and it's true for all New York City parks, but to build this really nice, beautiful park and then have issues the first 2 years, it's going to be challenging, especially since the budget cuts coming in. I don't anticipate that it's going to get any better. And I don't know if there's a better mechanism to figure out a way to make sure this park is properly maintained. But I do think it's something to put on the radar.
To put on the radar, is that the last thing you said, Trevor?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, no, thanks. Robin?
Hi, yeah, I know I've missed a bunch of meetings. My father's not doing well. I apologize, everybody. And I came late today. I was actually really surprised at the last parks meeting and again today that they're closing those fields earlier, that they want to begin work on the northern end and closing those fields earlier than they had said. So but what was told to us, it wasn't that they would anticipate finishing the project earlier, but just they'd be on time. So does that mean they're behind schedule? And I was confused about that. And I don't, they're claiming they're still keeping within their 42%, but we're losing 3 ball fields in the last season that possibly anyone could ever use those fields, you know? So that's a big worry. And I don't know how that got approved for a go-ahead. And I agree with Trevor, yes. Trevor, I think that, you know, we probably need to think about the community, you know, a Friends of East River Park group, but, you know, that would be required some funding, you know, even if it's from individuals donating money, you know. But I'd be all into
Well, I
that.
know, yeah, there is a group, I just want to put it on. It's because my concern is from Pier 42 and 35, which have their own issues already, and they've only been open months or years, and the opening up of this huge park. But I know there are several groups who are working on that. I know there's going to be issue of funding, but I just wanted to place it on the radar. It's probably another discussion we need to have right now, maybe a year from now or two, but once these fields open up, maintaining them is going to be an issue.
Robin, my recollection of what Desiree said at the last CAG and at CB3 was that they're actually doing this closure ahead of schedule, that they had meant to do it over the summer, but they decided to go ahead with it now for 2 reasons. One, because they could keep the project moving, and the other was because as they complete work in sort of the northern part of the south end, that they need to find something for those construction workers to do. And so their point to the Parks Department was that they wanted to keep the momentum going and keep the construction workers working, and to get that sewer work done under there. And I think she also said that they are making an effort to relocate youth league games that were scheduled for this summer that would normally be permitted on those fields, to locations as nearby as possible. But that adults would probably have to go further afield, to use, so to speak. And I think some questions came up that I don't think were fully answered about the condition of the ballpark at Corlear's Hook and what that will be like, and whether or not it will be suitable for youth leagues. So I don't know enough about how that park is used to sort of understand that.
Yeah, thanks, Diana. You know, I heard everything from the meeting at Parks, except for the fact that it was also to keep the construction workers working. So I understand that motivation. But then at the same time, she's hoping that the connections to the new fields will be available, right? She was talking about that. So maybe that's something that we could put down also, like to ensure that once they close those fields, they will have access to the new fields. She was sort of kind of crossing her fingers kind of thing. And then, I mean, I don't know if anyone else here has had kids, you know, who've played ball on that Corliss Hook field. But yes, as the mother said at the meeting, the whole field is used. Unfortunately, they're taking away a big portion of it. And, you know, if they're going to be doing construction during the day, days after school hours when the kids play, it's going to be incredibly disruptive and may not be usable at all. From my experience there.
Can I add a concern? They're going to come back with a report on how the equipment's going to move into Corlears, but it should also include the materials. How will the materials be getting there? Because that will also have an impact on potentially on the ball fields, etc. Oops, sorry, my camera. I'll turn it off.
Let me just add this, and this helps them with what we've heard, is if you could post those to their inquiry tool, that way they can get answers back quick, as opposed to we'll have to get back to you at the next meeting. So I know Paul is taking notes and they're going to submit it also, but if you could submit those to that site, it's very effective. I found it to be effective, so that when they come to the meeting, they have at least somewhat of an answer prepared.
should I just, that's a good idea, Trevor. And you know what? I wrote to the CCLs. Oh, no, I wrote to the greening task force new head. And this is the group that's working with the street trees and the bioswales, et cetera. We're meeting in January. And I asked, is there any concern that, you know, the park itself is only getting a foot or two of like topsoil? And they wrote back, there'll be some biochar in that. But to me, we are losing such an opportunity if we don't have the compost center there to provide the soil like they did when the park was rebuilt post Sandy. So much of the native plants and things really took hold when that compost rich soil was being added to the park. So I'm really worried that it's going to be too sterile for things to really thrive there if we don't have the compost yard. So to me, it's part and parcel of what we should be getting to make sure the park actually does turn green and leafy again. Sorry, I'm out here by the Verrazano and you get to walk with me. A beautiful evening.
Other concerns that are and/or questions that people want to raise? I guess not. Well, alrighty then. I guess you guys want to adjourn. We'll be meeting with DDC I think in the first week of January. So we will relay these concerns to them. But again, as some of you, or as Trevor suggested, you might also want to type these issues into the public inquiry tool. We'll also be revisiting in January, revisiting some of the commitments and following up on those and getting status updates. So that's something that's coming up. But Tara, is there anything else you want to say before we adjourn?
I think that's all. Well, I'll just let you all know that our offices are going to be closed from the 22nd through the 1st. So just to let you all know, so we will probably be slow to respond to any emails, but we will at least get some of these items over to DDC before then. And we have already reached out to parks for some commitments around some of those some of those commitments. And I think that's really it. And then we can reach out, Paul, maybe to Christine to see how the Lower East Side Ecology meeting went, to see if there's anything that needs to be flagged that we can send out to the CAG prior to Friday. And yeah, and we can send the link to the public inquiry tool to the group as well.
I'll do that right now, and I'll also I'll post this meeting to YouTube now as well. So if no one else is raising their hand, thank you again for being here tonight, and I hope you have a good holiday and some nice time off coming up. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good, bye-bye.
January.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good holiday all.
Thank you. Have a healthy and happy, everybody.
Happy everybody.
Bye.